And we are live, and we're echoing because I don't have my headphones on, but that can be removed very easily.
You
So
have one job.
today we have a very, very, very special guest, and this is something we're going to be doing more often as time goes by. But we have now. I actually have not said your name out loud, so I'm going to be murdering it probably the first time until you tell me how to say it. But I have Carshenah. Nope. All right. Tell me how to pronounce it. Carshenah.
It's exactly how it's written. So a car, she,
okay,
no. A girl in a car.
Well, you're saying a car, she, nah.
Exactly. So Carshenah, yes.
So it's totally like a woman driver joke, just waiting.
Could be. You better watch out. No. It's actually a biblical name, found in the book of Esther, first chapter, 14th verse. And the name origin, as it were, was one of the original princes of Persia. So the princes of Persia. And because, names, you can do like Robert, Roberta. My mom added the H at the end to make it feminine. So I'm a princess. So I was one of the very first princesses of Persia. So it's a Persian name. Yeah.
Now that's very cool. I did not know that. That's awesome. And I'm actually a bit of a biblical scholar. So
well, then you know that Carshenah was the first prince to during the king Xerxes or Ahasuerus. He was the first prince or the son to tell his dad, "Hey, mom's not coming. Boot her out. Time to get up a trophy wife. Trying to boot up for your second wife." So Carshenah talked to the king, and then henceforth Esther. So there you go.
Right. I actually Esther is probably like one of my my weaker subjects, but but that's just that's because there's so many subjects. Nobody can be an expert on everything without. But I without getting too much into it, I mean, I do know the story and the basics of that. So anyway, that's awesome. Biblical names, obviously, I'm. My family roots are Amish, so like all of us have biblical names. So like my father's like John Noah, and I'm Andrew John, and my grandfather was Abraham Jonathan. You know what I mean? So it's
I'm Simon.
Yeah. There you go, Simon. There you go.
There's a bunch of biblical names up in here.
Yes.
So that's awesome. I'm excited to dive into stuff here. Brian Chistgau should be joining us at some point. He's tardy today. He is tardy. We have Skits comic in the chat. What a big surprise! Hey, Skits, good to see you.
What's up, Skit?
For those people who don't know, Carshenah is the other half of the Skits comic team. Yeah.
No.
No, for those of us who don't know, obviously dude.
I was playing along. Come on, don't call me.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
So and now Carshenah has a production company that specializes in horror. Okay, it's called it's Verse. Is it Verse Studios? Verse Production? Just Verse?
Verse Film Productions. Yes.
Verse Film Productions. All right. Now you want to tell us a little bit about how that came to be, how that started, how you got into that, how that was birthed into reality?
Sure. In 2010, I was working with the Disney company out in Burbank, and being my background, being in entertainment, as far as like film, being an actress and dabbling, directing and stuff of that nature. A good friend of mine, which is today is her birthday. Hey, Monica, may the 4th be with you. She came over to stay with me because she was doing a Getty research grant at the Getty Museum. Okay. And she was with me for a little while. And I was like, hey, I want to do some filming. She's like, okay. So I put her in like a film, and I didn't tell her it was going to be horror. I was like, just lay down on the floor. And she's like, okay. So she lay down on the floor. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to do something to you. She's like, okay. But we turned, but it turned out we were just like this possession type of filming that I was doing, like experimenting with like possession and stuff like that. And then when she left, I said, I probably should be doing this a lot since I have those chops. I've been directing before, but haven't really made it official because I'm more geared towards acting. That's what I came out here to do. I became an actress and then do all that stuff. And I've been blessed to be doing it since I moved out to LA. But after that first filming, and it was rough. Trust me, it was rough, like doing everything on your own. I decided, let me continue with it. I had all these ideas just turning and turning and turning in my head. And I was like, you know what? I have a MacBook. Look at me. I'm all special. I know all about the Premiere Pro, or back in the day when it was just like iMovie, for everyone to do that. Still use that to this day. And all these in Final Cut. I was like, I can do Final Cut, and edit some stuff. Yep. And then I just decided to do Verse Films Productions. And speaking of how it gets its name, it is a biblical thing because it's chapter and verse.
Okay.
So it's the verse for the films, and there you go.
Sweet. So when was Verse Productions born? How long has that been a build?
2010. So it's been 10 years.
Wow,
exactly
10 years.
10 years.
So how many things have you made since the last 10 years?
I've gotten, we have something that's coming out. I think I told you before in a message board that we just finished up a music video, a little bit different from the norm, but we did like sort of this party music video. We just finished that out. My DP, John Orphan, and my music director, Shock, who's like way famous out there. And then I had a great actor that came along as well. And so we shot that, just finished that as far as editing and production and post and everything just last month, just due to, what's going on. So that I did a trilogy called Watch Me, Watch Me Again, and Watch Out. So that was like a little short trilogy. And then we did one in 2017 called The Dead of Night. And that one we actually premiered like in a theater out in LA. And we were really excited about that one. It was a lot of hard work, but I had the whole lineup. I just want to say that I really, really, really appreciate all of the production crew and people behind the scenes, because it is no feat to shoot a film in one night and then edit and then get it ready. But it was crazy. We had over, I want to say, because of the production equipment and stuff, we had almost $100,000 in just equipment alone on the set. And we shot in Malibu. And so that was like, one of those things where it's like, oh, we get to go to Malibu for the day. And it's like, yeah, it was all of that. It was just like saying, hey, I got funded by Daddy Spielberg, and here we are. Kind of.
Right on.
So it was good. So all in all, in total, we've done at least one or two a year in that time. And we still have more stuff that's in the works. We have a 1-minute horror series that we are producing. And I'll be directing most of the things. I'm writing. But it's a 1-minute horror, so it gets your wheels turning for a minute. So if you remember Tales from the Crypt, if you remember Tales from the Dark Side, that it's on that vein, except for we're trying to cut it down to just 1 minute.
Now, why the 1 minute?
Just attention spans. People's attention spans are just not where it used to be. Also, cost. It's much easier for that. But also it's just a challenge to see what you can do in 1 minute. I mean, you've seen like just short. I mean, you have shorts that are 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 20 minutes, so on and so forth. But what can you do? Can you get that blood pumping within 1 minute?
Okay.
So,
Yeah, it's the same concept as one-page stories, one-page horror stories.
Hey, Brian.
What's up? Hi, I wanted to say hello and everything, but I didn't want to step on you.
That's okay.
But
I
yeah,
should have late as always.
yeah. Well, I got my link late, yo.
Hey, you got your link the same time
Simon!
everybody else did, man.
Simon, you're number one. You're number one, brother.
Did you see just before you jumped in what I posted in the chat?
No.
The late one, 6-gun gorilla. And you jumped in.
Oops. Well, I guess I set myself up for that one.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, and then of course there's the one sentence horror story.
Yeah.
Right? Like the last man in the world is sitting alone in a room, suddenly there's a knock at the door.
Right.
So
it's reminiscent to like the Twilight Zone, where he's the last man on Earth, and then what happens. You know what I mean? There's so many. Yeah, exactly.
I got your one sentence horror story.
Yeah.
Trapped in quarantine with the ex-wife.
Oh. Or the ex-girlfriend, or the angry ex-girlfriend. Not like the cool ex-girlfriend that's like a big sister or something like that.
The cool one.
Yeah.
I know there was categories. There's a cool one.
Yeah, there are. I have an ex like my who's like my big sister. But
do we understand that with this quarantine, there's probably a lot of people that started the quarantining couple, married, and ended up with their ex.
That, and also then of course there are the quarantine babies that are on their way.
Oh, it's happening. I mean,
Speaking of babies,
right now is
the next baby boom.
What else is there to do? If you're in quarantine, you're lucky enough to have a partner who you love, and you want to do a little bonding and a little me Tarzan, you Jane time. Yeah. I'm sorry, Drew, I cut you off.
And Brian says he's not a furry.
I'm furry.
Hey, if it
but
walks
I'm not
and it talks.
If it looks like a duck, but walks like a duck.
Right?
My Skit says, what is my favorite movie I've done so far? And that was The Dead of Night. I recently did one called The Black String, and with Frankie Muniz, and that's already out and about. And that was a real fun one. And that's why if you go to my Twitter at Carshenah J, I'm the black girl who doesn't die. Like, yeah, I made it in a professional horror film without dying. But that's another reason why I did my horror production, is because everyone knows that meme or that gesture or that saying about black people are the first ones to go, or people in color in general. They got 5 minutes, and I'm like, you didn't have a good contract.
Hey, Dwayne in Night of the Living Dead made it all the way to the end.
Yes, he did, but he had a good contract.
And Ken in Dawn of the Dead made it all the way to the end.
Well, all the way to the end, but he didn't make it to the sequels. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but the sequels are always different characters anyway. So
you still have a continuation, Barbara. I'm sorry, you still got. But so a lot of my films, a lot of my minorities, we win and we actually prevail to the next time. Everybody else, sorry.
Well, Romero was always he insisted that Dwayne Jones, he didn't cast him because he was black. He insisted that he cast him because he was the best actor who auditioned for the part. And yet the fact that he's a black dude in that completely changes that entire movie.
Yeah, he saw. I mean, I watched that documentary that was on Shudder.
Horror Noir.
Horror Noir.
Yeah.
One of them. It was great.
Yeah.
And he was holding all of that in, driving to New York, saying, "Oh my gosh," right after the Selma riots and everything. And it was just like, do you not know what you have in your hand? Like, seriously. And he was like, "Yeah, I actually do, and I'm scared."
Yeah. Romero was driving the Negative to be developed in New York City, and was listening to the radio on the way there, and heard that Dr. King had just been shot.
Yep.
Yeah. And for the longest time, my friends and I, we would always say that because he always put black people in his zombie movies, that black people have the zombie killing gene. And that white people are going to be completely foobar. when the zombies come, and we're gonna be begging the black people to save us because we all got that black zombie killing gene.
Well, it is a thing where you go into a movie and you go, you know that ain't gonna happen if we were black. Like they'd be like, they're like, oh, is she? No, she ain't going up in them stairs. I'm sorry, and which is why a lot of people get frustrated when they talk about like how Black people talk during the movies. It is the epitome of minorities talking in the movies, because it's like you got your popcorn and you like, girl, don't go in there. What you doing? And then they're like, maybe we should go in the tool shed. You bye, Felicia. You go in the tool shed.
Don't go in that room.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what? On Alt.horror, this is years ago, I got accused of being racist for talking about this, right? And suggesting that every horror movie, DVDs, since DVD technology came out, you had this wonderful thing where you had different audio tracks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you watch a movie in English, Portuguese, French, you name it, right? Director's commentary, mono, stereo, all of that other shit. And I always thought like every horror movie should have Black audience commentary, where you could just like click that button, bitch, don't go in that room.
Yeah, that would be like a comedic commentary. I think of when you talk about like Black people in horror movies. I'm always drawn to the Eddie Murphy delirious comic bit when when Eddie Murphy is talking about how come there's no Black people in comedy in horror movies. And it's because it's unbelievable. It's like because a Black family go into a haunted house, they move in. This house is so beautiful. Oh my God, this house is gorgeous. Get out. Too bad we can't stay.
And then of course, actually, when people ask me what were my influences on Six Gun, one of the big influences on me just in general was Blackula, because I remember being a little kid, right? I remember being a little kid and seeing it in the TV guide and thinking, oh, this is gonna be goofy, and watching it, and there was William Marshall, who brought such dignity and command, authority, and pathos to that part. And it was just like, and it was like a sucker punch, because it's just like, oh, this is gonna be goofy, and it's like, oh, whoa. and there is quite a bit of humor in that.
Style. He brought style for that, and especially for Scream, Blackula Scream, they actually, with Pam Grier, they actually had a part where she's actually acting and not just being like the sexy sex symbol, like chocolate or whatever.
Which she was great at.
She's not doing that. She was great. She was great. But again, it's like you had these two commanding actors on the scene, and you're just like, oh my gosh, please bite me, Dracula, please. I mean, he was like the pimp daddy of pimps. I mean, you're like, please bite me, and
that is one strange dude. And I'm in the minority. I realize that, but I think Scream, Blackula Scream is better than Blackula. And
you're not alone. You are not alone.
It's genuine. There are moments in that that are genuinely scary. They're genuinely nightmarish, I think. Yeah. And of course, you have Pam Grier, who is one of our national treasures, and Coffee, Arena, oh God, Foxy Brown,
Black Mama, White Mama,
shot in the Philippines, got it on DVD,
It's just one of the things that I as a director, as well as an actor, I mean, you always have that combo when people ask you, like, what do you do? And you're like, I'm actually a working actress who actually directs, who actually produces, who actually writes. It's awesome. Like, I mean, those are the things that you do for yourself. I'm a graduate of the idea of, hey, Hollywood's not calling, do it yourself. You know what I mean? The Spike Lee. I'm a Spike Lee graduate. Yeah, I'm a Spike Lee graduate, where it's basically if they're not calling, they're doing, do something for yourself to make for yourself, and then show others, because there's an audience that's out there. And I love when I'm in meetings or when I was in LA and I get to talk, I go like this. I go when I'm pitching a project, I go, name me a female horror director. Oh, wait. And they're like, oh, and they scramble. And I say, now name me an African-American female horror director under the age of, oh, wait. And they're like, oh, still scrambling. But it's a conversation opener. And of course, there's more out there that's need to be discovered. But the fact of the matter is that if you can't list them in a list, it's a problem. And so that's why when I did Verse Films, I was at the time back in 2010, I was one of the only female horror production company owners, as well as directors at that time. And then just being Black, it just made it more like, oh, you speak Russian? Duh. You know, it's just like one of those things where it's like you put yourself out there, which, by the way, I said that because the Dead of Night film that I talked about, it's all in Russian. So yes, ooh, I do speak Russian.
We will be previewing a couple of her films tonight. So this is not just a strictly interview. She sent me links. I have stuff for her. So yeah.
Rock and roll.
But before we get into that, so everybody gets excited for that. It's going to come. Before we get into that, I want to know about the process. Okay, so like I'm sure like not every movie is the same exact process, but no. So like give me an example of what would be the most generic style process that you run into. Like do you do you write it all the time? Do people come with you with scripts? What would you say is how you get these things done?
So two things, that's a really good question. Two things, because, and it's not all about me, but because there's a lot of ideas that are flowing and I want to get them out there and share them. I have a plethora of just writing material. And I look at it, I'll see, okay, what's marketable, financially, can I get this funded or can I pay for it myself? And, or what is the demographics right now as far as what's popular? Is it found footage this year? Is it, Get Out, like, oh no, I'm coming to meet your family, who's coming to dinner? Like, is it a race relation? Is it an economic thing? Or is it just a comedy? I look at that and I look at those ideas. On a separate junket, I have had contests or I should say I have had open calls for people to send me their scripts. So I can look over them, send them to my group, like my DP, my other assistants and stuff like that, and say, hey, what do you think about this? When looking at this script, how can we shoot this? Where can we shoot this? And for as little as money as possible, and or how marketable can it be? Like, even from the posters down to, if you want to sell Girl Scout cookies, with blood all over them, what are we doing? So I have those two things, and they've worked out where I've had all the things that I've written and produced. I look at it that way. And then the same adage generically, I say, hey, send me your script. Let's look at it. Let's see where it goes from there. And it's worked out fine. Once that's in place, once we've come into an agreement, that's when I start looking for my crew. And then when I look for my crew, I look for people that I've worked with before, like a family, of course, and the ones that I know that will get stuff done. And when they get stuff done, meaning that they bring the lighting guy with them, they bring their Steadicam with them, so these are things that I'm thinking of in my process of, I have a budget for 16 people. Out of those 16 people, where can I make a cut where it's like, I don't need to have a Steadicam operator per se by themselves, but can my DP now operate the Steadicam as well as put up some lights? That just eliminated another job cost, but I know that person is effective in all those areas. And there's other times where I'm like, sorry, I need my DP just strictly to be looking at the monitor and just strictly to be by my side to look at what's being filmed. I do need that Steadicam person. So you got to look at it that way. And then you also just have to look at what is right for you. And location is everything. Mm-hmm. If no one heard anything out of Hollywood and you just heard location, 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 that is the only thing you take away from Hollywood, because can you do your film and adapt your script to a house? Can you adapt your script to the San Gabriel Mountains? Can you adapt your script to another city where you won't get in trouble filming the Venice sign and you have to pay tens of thousands of dollars just to have the Venice sign in your movie? So, but that's your basic. So your basic rundown is getting the script, looking over it, deciding your crew, and then just looking at your budget as to what can and cannot be filmed, and then go from there.
Right. Your other half is making jokes in here.
Yeah, he is. You know what a DP is.
Director of photography is a DP, or we call them a cinematographer. Yes.
Please tell him to get his mind out of the gutter.
His dip.
The double penetration joke. Yeah.
Yeah. You had to say it. You had to say it, Drew.
Of course I did. It wouldn't be as funny for all the people who are just wondering.
Subtlety, this guy.
No.
But there are some people who don't, we throw these terms around and some people are like, what's that? You're like, oh, the camera guy. They're like, oh yeah, the camera guy. Yeah. You're like, yeah.
And you want to make this stuff as accessible to people as possible. Do you know what I mean? Like, one of the things that kills me about the academic world right now is that all the different disciplines, they all have this very arcane language. And, it's like, if you're not in that discipline, you're just going to be completely lost. So if I pick up like an academic book, like for instance, there's a great book called Six Guns in Society, right? Which is all.
I was like, Six Gun Gorilla? What?
No. It's one of the books that I read for research, right? Called Six Guns in Society, and you can pick it up. It's highly readable, very interesting breakdown of the genre from an academic perspective, and it's like you could just. It's an easy read. But if you pick up an academic book that's come out in like the last 10 or 15 years, there's all this jargon. And that's why it's also important. I mean, that to me is the beautiful thing about YouTube is now, my God, all of us, I'm looking for my phone. All of us, I could shoot a movie on this thing.
Yeah.
And there are people that are shooting movies on these things.
Yeah. They have festivals strictly for your mobile phone. I mean, it's the mobile phone festival, really. And it's like, what can you do with an edit and things like that? And I've actually shot certain things on the video. So speaking of skits, so with Verse Films, we shot that intro trailer to skits right on our iPhone. And it looks, phenomenal. And the thing is that I've worked with cameras like from having Red, from Ari, all the way down to, your Sonys and stuff like that, and all the big boys. And suffice it to say, I give kudos to iPhone because my iPhone 11, it shot just like my Sony camera, and I was kind of floored by that. It was easy and movable. So
I was really irritated when I saw that the iPhone 11 shoots better than the 5D does, and it doesn't have it's not a mirrored or anything. And then they have these additional lenses you can buy on top of it,
and they come in RAW now too, so you can alter everything you want.
Yeah, it's amazing. The iPhone has more or less replaced the need for the Handycam.
It's the democratization of the arts, is what it is.
What?
The Handycam, the camcorder.
I know, I'm just joking.
I was like,
hail Sim.
The only thing is that I appreciate the convenience of the iPhone, but I still love having my DSLR or, having my A7 or having a Red camera and learning the intricacies of, what goes into it, because those are investments. And if you're going to invest in it, you're going to invest in learning, where can I, shoot this lens? Where can I prop it up? Can I put this here? Can I put it on my harness? Do all that stuff. Can I put it on, emoji? What am I doing with that camera just to make it a little bit better? I mean, I do love the convenience of having the iPhone, but sometimes there's just certain things that you just get used to, and
if you're shooting for the big screen, the iPhone is not the right choice.
No.
No.
You want at least a Pro-Am camera, but Pro-Am cameras are really cheap now too. You can get a really good Pro-Am camera for like what, 5,000, 3,000, and that price is just going to keep going down. That's what's so beautiful about the age that we're living in now, is that the technology is becoming more and more accessible to more and more people. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to go to film school. You don't have to, it's like anybody can pick up their phone and make a movie. That doesn't mean that they're going to make a good movie, but there are going to be some people like the Neil Blomkamps, for instance.
Yeah.
That will, create magic on their computers. Or even like, there are people in, there's Wakaliwood. I don't know if you're familiar with them. My peeps in Uganda who are making.
I know all about them green screens. I mean, they make everything the best.
I love those. Oh, I love those. Oh man, I love Isaac.
One of the things
the beautiful thing about the iPhone 11, I actually have tested, is that it actually compensates for a green screen automatically. It's built into the software. It does.
What?
It does better cutting for green screen work.
Amazing.
than you get out of a lot of software. It's really annoying actually, because if you like spend a lot of money on software to get a good green screen cut, and then you see that your iPhone just nails it the first time every time, it's like you're like just.
Back when I was in it, the best one for that was Nuke, but Nuke was really huge, and I don't know if you've heard about Nuke.
Nope.
Nope. It was one of the biggest used computer. It's stronger than After Effects.
I went and bought the expensive Final Cut 4. You know what I mean? The expensive one. It was like $1,100 for that package. Yep. Just so I could do green screen work efficiently, because that was all there was at the time that could do it right.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. I pirated it, but
that was a joke, by the way.
That was a joke, by the way. That was
everyone went to pirate. Hey, and then found it. But the cool thing is that as far as production work, once you finish to finish up that question, once you have those things intact, casting is also important, just as important as the writing and the directing, because it can be the worst writing in the world, but if someone knocks it home, you're just like, they took my words, and it's actually pretty good.
Right.
I remember when we were casting for The Dead of Night, and when we show it, I'll let you know, maybe if you preview some stuff. It was specific, and as a casting director, and I've worked in New York and New Jersey for casting, and also in LA, and so I'm very specific when you go into all these casting places, and I was like, I need. Listen to your ears. Now you tell me if you hear what you expect to see. I said, I need a Russian speaker between the height of 5'5" and 5'7". How hard is that? I got girls from like all over the world, and I didn't say she had to be a white Russian. I didn't say she had to be black Russian either, drinks. I just said she had to be a Russian native speaker between 5'5", 5'7". The reason being is because she had to fit in a specific bathtub. I couldn't have a girl who was a supermodel Russian. I couldn't have a girl who was a mail order bride Russian. I just could not. You had to fit those terms. I got girls. Let me just tell you on the backside, this is why a lot of people are like, oh, casting director, casting couch. No, these girls came out the woodworks. And I mean, it was the best thing, but it was the funniest thing. I've got like, you guys draw girls with big boobs. Well, these girls came out the woodworks, and I was like, but you speak with an Irish accent. They're like, oh, I was like, I can't use you. Or I've gotten girls who, when they submit their picture, they really gave me their lacy sort of pictures. And I was like, you're gonna die. So I don't care what you look like in the bedroom. You're just gonna die. So I just need to see what you look like straight on, because you're just gonna die. It's like, but if you heard what I said, it's 5'5", between 5'7", native Russian speaker. It's not that hard. But I got girls who were like, well, I speak French, and I was like,
it's funny in LA, that request should actually be very easy to find.
It was hard. It was hard. It was hard.
There's always people who are trying to break in. When I was looking for an artist, I posted an ad. I was like, I want nothing but sequential art, because I want to be able to tell that you could tell a story with pictures. And I got character sketches and all this crap I didn't ask for, and just delete.
Yeah. A lot of people are desperate, and they'll apply for anything, and a lot of people are unprepared. So you're bound to any kind of audition situation. You're bound to get, if the job is desirable, you're bound to get a weird clusterfuck of whatever. You know what I mean? So.
And they actually saw that it was a new director, so they were like, oh, I'll just, and I'm like,
right.
Yes, because, and I will say, to their advantage though, and on the flip side, being in the acting world, you can sometimes go into those auditions, and because it's about advertisers already on their storyboard says, this is what we're looking for. So the casting call goes out, you show up, and next thing you know, you're like, when you see the commercial, you're like, they asked for Black girls. Now it's this like Asian girl with like Afro puffs. You're just like, that's not what they asked for. It's because someone came in the audition and changed their mind. And then they went back to their advertisers and said, oh, now this looks more, and it can, so I will say that sometimes if you go to an audition, you can change the mind, because they don't know what they want. When you go there, you don't know what you want. But if they're being specific, to the curly hair T, that is what you should come in for and be prepared. A lot of people, they just want to I want to be in an audition, and I'm like, no.
And it's
so paid. I do pay my people. So.
Got to. And it's so true what you say about a really good actor being able to sell even the most ridiculous dialogue, even the most ridiculous premise.
Yeah.
And, there's nothing against, I'm not against using amateurs, right? Like people that aren't actors, as long as you know how to use them and you're using them for that specific purpose, right? Like for you cast them as the person that they are, right? And then you get somebody like the example I always use is there's an actor named Elias Koteas. He's not that famous, but he's like one of the best American actors.
Yeah, I know who that is. I know very well who that is. Yeah,
right. There's this really trash werewolf movie called Skinwalkers, and in that he's giving this.
I saw that movie. I love it.
And just like the most ridiculous dialogue, and he sells that shit where you're just like, like you feel it like in your gut, and you're just like, okay, now that's acting, especially if you can, and that was what was always great about the Hammer horror movies, was the fact that they were played straight. And the fact that you had these great actors like Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing that would come in and sell that shit. Yeah.
That was the look. They're like,
yep.
That was the look. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes
but
dialogue it was just ridiculous. Like straight faced.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step.
Let's just face it, that a lot of people, that's okay. No. Let's just face it, a lot of people are still new to it. I still think I'm still new to it, even with my experience, because there's always things that you can be learning, or always new things. Like even today when Mr. E was asking me, do you have any links? And I was like, oh God, do I? Because back in the day it was, you film, you put it on DVD, you send it to the theater if it gets played, or you send it to a festival, and it wasn't really made for YouTube. Or now there's obviously we're now in that market for it, and I'm actually going to be redoing some things. But it's like, oh gosh, it's like either Vimeo or you do this. It's just because a lot of the film festivals or places that you send them to, they just ask for the DVD. And on my part, you neglect to be like, oh yeah, I'm just put it online. It's like, I don't want to just have my film just up there online, but then it's like, oh, I guess now is the time, so because there's going to be an audience, for that as well. So, yeah.
Well, as far as short films, I mean, they're hard to monetize. So, getting a platform, designed for horror, and then obviously putting content on there, especially in the short film realm, what I mean, makes a lot of sense, because eventually you can monetize them that way. Otherwise, you have to incorporate them with a bunch of other short films, and hopefully, encapsulate them into some kind of like Amazon download or whatever. Yeah, so.
By the way, if you hear me going aw, it's because Pepper Potts is getting some love.
Yeah, she's molesting.
Oh, that's your cat name, Pepper Potts.
Yeah, look at her. Oh, she's demanding. Oh, yeah.
I have some of the things that I've worked with a lot of great people in LA, and I've worked with some of the best, in my opinion, where they're working right now. I have a DP friend of mine, Federico Verratti, and what up, Fedi? And he was one of the mains on Z Nation. As well, and he does all kinds of stuff, and Mandalorian, and so he's been working on that.
Which character was he on Z Nation?
What?
Which character was he on Z Nation?
No, he's the camera guy.
Camera guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so he was the guy.
Okay, I'm just gonna mute myself right now.
Oh, okay. Is that something you're all about?
Because he keeps talking over you. But while we're at a moment of silence, I want to say hi to Art City Comics and say big fucking congratulations on the baby to come, man. Fucking A, dude. You have a baby on the way. That is amazing. So happy to hear it, brother.
Nice.
Congratulations, man.
Brightest blessings to you.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And he's my co-writer on Blood Hunt.
So let's take a moment to give this a little view here, because I think that everybody would be interested to see this.
Oh, perfect.
If I can figure out how to.
Любовь, то, что тебя подчиняет, то, что никуда не уходит, то, что терзает душу.
I hate that. Internet, eat my ass. Come on. So annoying.
I know, they're breaking the tension. That's the last thing we want with this.
That's a good thing for horror films.
Dramatic pause.
Oh, I know it is a dramatic. You heard like a, what is that thing in the background? Well, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
And that's my actor, Dennis Rakovich. Great actor.
Selling it.
Let's back up a little bit to get that momentum.
Любовь, то, что тебя подчиняет, то, что никуда не уходит, то, что терзает душу. Вирус. То, что подкрадывается незаметно. То, что подчиняет себе все твое существо. То, что не отпускает.
То, что терзает душу. То, что никуда не уходит. То, что тебя подчиняет. Любовь. То, что омрачает твою душу. То, что сильнее тебя. То, что тобой движет. Страх.
Смерть. То, чего ты боишься. То, что ходит за тобой всю твою жизнь. То, что отнимает и никогда не отдает обратно.
Любовь. То, что делает возможным воскрешение из мертвых.
So very nice. Very nice.
Thank you. Shout out to Blacklight Odyssey, my friend Anton Floriano. They work with Depeche Mode. So I was able to get them to write my original score for me. So, I mean, it was like, are you serious? Great guy. John Orphan, like I said, you can go to him, johnorphan.com. I had him on my Come Get Some Live, and he's worked with like Reese Witherspoon. He's worked with so many great people. He's done like camera for American Idol for like 8 seasons or something like that. It's just like, I don't, but he's got some other good stuff that he works with. and a lot of music videos and stuff. And I mean, just a great crew of people that I was able to employ and work with, and just I'm very blessed because I literally sometimes I go, how did I even get here? And then just good blessing to be, to the point where I'm a shrewd businesswoman, but I'm a good businesswoman because I have my ideas and I know exactly what I want and I know how to make it happen to where it becomes productive and lucrative for everyone. So once you lay that on the line and lay that on the table, people say yes. And, friendships are forged. And like I said, I would work in a heartbeat with my actors, Dennis Rakovich and Nana Maharshavili. She's from Georgia, Russia. She's from Georgia. And he's Estonian, actually. So yes, I employ all over the world. I'm a global importer.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But the use of Russian in that makes it feel more dreamlike. And that, of course, is usually a very good thing in horror. I find like too much horror these days is a little too reality based. I mean, that's why I'm a big fan of the Italian, especially the Dario Argento movies and the Lucio Fulci, Mario Bava flicks. What is it that drew you to learning Russian? Because that is one intimidating language.
It's a beautiful language.
It is. It's beautiful, but it's just like, I mean, to me, it's like Mandarin. It's just like, oh my God. Because I learned German.
Are we stuck on the not answering?
No. I mean, I'm just.
Wait. Are we having a connection issue?
Do we have a connection issue, or did just thinking of?
Yeah,
you're bugging out.
Okay, all right. So I didn't say something stupid.
No. She's having a delay.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you caught up yet?
Yes. I heard you. No, I learned Russian in college. I'm also kind of a linguist. Well, I used to be. Let me put it out there because I don't want to be like, do it, say something, and you're like, okay. When I have a conversation, I will.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I learned. Yeah, I spoke Latin, Italian, Spanish, sign, German, Russian, for reading knowledge, as well as others. Yes, Mandarin, because I just loved languages. And I dated a Russian French guy. So that started my love of Russian back in college, my undergrad. And I just always had a lot of international friends. And so we would, if you ever remember ICQ back in the day, that tells you how old I am. I would actually talk to them, and they would like give me like, oh, Carshenah, oh, and they would teach me some things. And I would just continue on like each year. Awesome. As far as being fluent, not like I used to be. But if I am around a group of people from those countries that I spoke about for, let's say, 3 days, like nonstop, I can pick it up just like that. Yeah.
So you're a polyglot.
I am a polyglot. I was learning Swedish up until 2015. So yes.
So jealous, man. So jealous. There's actually one director that was a polyglot, Jess Franco. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, the Spanish director. He would have, oh wow, his movies are amazing and from outer space. But he would have international crews, right? So he would have like a German cameraman, a French lighter. Like his crew would be completely mixed of people from all over the world, and he could converse with them all in their own languages because he literally was a polyglot and like, yeah, and
that would be like so annoying for the people in the room because like you're like talking to him in one language, talking to him in another. Like, what the fuck are you saying, man?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So now
in Italian too. So
yeah, to my next question here. I'm familiar with, like, you're doing a lot of shorts. What kind of full length feature stuff have you done? Have you done a full length feature film in horror yet?
Well, I'm in talks and in the works for my first full length, and it borders on what we were just talking about as far as Black people dying in horror. It's a horror comedy. It's on the lines of, if I may say, the Wayans brothers, when they had all of their sort of thing.
So like a little scary movie kind of feel. The scary movie spoof movie.
It is a scary movie sort of feel. It is, yes. The reason why I'm sort of nondescript is because the idea is out. Like I said, I'm still in talks to see what's going on with it. But it does cater around that minority feel of, like, why are we always dying first? And they give this whole like rundown and stuff like that. So it's similar to that. And I wanted my first round to be in that vein because I wanted to just sort of break in where, I love comedy as well, and I love horror and all those tropes and everything. And I just wanted to bring those in as a sort of a soft opening, I guess, for people to be like, oh, wow, that's actually, pretty cool, like a soft opening. Because a lot of my horror films are embedded in psychological. I can do the hack and slash, I can do the, Freddy's and things, but my horror, or at least the horror that we do for Verse Films, we tend to mess with your mind. These are things that can and just eventually might happen. That film was done in 2017. I was already talking about a virus. Did you get that? I was already talking about things like that can and will happen. Other things like stalkers or other things that are like more of a mind control of, like you were saying, like you're in a quarantine with like your ex or whatever. It's like, how much can you take in that situation before breaking? And then when you break, how bad will it be? Do you pick up a knife? Do you pick up a hatchet? Do you pick up a broom, and like really go at that person, but it's all in your mind. You know what I mean? So it's like, how much can we mess with your mind?
So you like to take your characters and squeeze them and squeeze them and squeeze them and squeeze them and squeeze them. That's that kind of a thing. Yeah, I love that.
I do.
I love that
I do.
We're seeing some like really great surrealist horror these days too. Like that at least is, I think, where horror is headed. There was a low budget a German movie on Shudder called Luz, Luz.
Yeah.
That's about like, demonic possession. That was clearly made for like very, very little, and it's all about the actors and the mood and everything. And I was really impressed with it. So I think that the market is.
And the thing about it is that when you're doing,
Frozen.
I think that's me. I could be roboting, Mr. Roboto.
You'll catch up.
Yeah, it's all good.
There you go.
That's scary. But one of the things is that I find it refreshing when I see people that are just doing it. Like there was the time where people were just doing like the Blair Witch, like the found footage. I've got some ideas about that, and which I love. Like these are things that, again, that can happen. It's like, okay, you're on a camping trip, and then all of a sudden, all your camping buddies go missing. And then it becomes like, oh, because you camped in like the Dunwich horror, like, playground or, so whatever, things that you didn't know about, but there's like a legend, there's a folklore, stuff like that. And those things intrigue me a lot. A lot of Lovecraftian stuff intrigue me. as well. But trust me, I am all about the hack and the slash and the gore, and I'm the first one to go, yes, get it. Ah! Like, people go, and I'm like, do it. I'm like, oh, she's gonna get it. Like, I get excited when I see that. Like, I really, truly do. And if people go, and I'm like, y'all just don't know, because those ideas, I'm just like, the rake went in her face and it went all the way through the back of her head. I'm all like, yeah, so
thankfully we're getting a return to practical effects. I think we mostly can thank I guess that's largely because of the forensics shows that were on TV where gore medicalized, so it was okay, right?
Yeah.
And that opened the door for The Walking Dead, and now practical effects are a thing again. Thank God.
Well, sometimes practical effects are better on the budget anyway, so let's take a transition and watch this other film.
And can I just say real quick?
No,
Simon, can you just lay off the bong for 1 minute? It's like we're trying to watch a movie during.
Everybody mute yourself when we're watching the movie. How's that for a good rule?
Hello? Oh, hey, PJ. You found parking? Great. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Hey. Parking was unbelievable. You smell incredible. Almost good enough to eat. Want to keep walking?
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Okay.
Lots of people today. I haven't been downtown in a long time since, what's his name? Are you hungry?
I could use a bite to eat.
Yeah?
Yeah. Wait, what was his name?
Let's say we get out of here. Hey, you feel that?
Feel what?
I guess nothing. Let's keep walking. Hello? Hello?
What was that?
They didn't say anything, so I guess nothing. Let's keep walking.
Okay. Hey, if the sound goes down, let's get some pics.
Okay.
Out for a selfie?
Yeah.
Or technically a groupie.
A groupie?
Yeah.
Sure.
And if you know, what's his name, calls again, I'll deal with it.
Hello?
Hey, Jasmine, what's wrong?
Hello, who is this?
Are you in this picture or what?
Hello?
Hey, freak, stop calling. All right, let's go. It's getting late. I'll walk you to your car.
What about dinner?
Don't worry, we'll eat.
Well, you know me, I love getting free parking, but it's a little bit of a ways.
Cool. If I didn't know better, your set is getting stronger as the night falls. I bet you're really hungry just like me.
Hello? Look, I don't know what this is, but I have a friend with me and you don't want to mess with him.
Okay, seriously, I'm starting to get freaked out. Sun's down anyway, so by the time we get to your car, we'll be starved.
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, I'm starting to get real hungry, so pay for parking next time. I hate it when I play without food.
Yeah, I know. My car's just a little bit further, but dinner's on me tonight. I was thinking we can have some aged meat with a spicy kick to it.
Ah, dinner.
Watch me, scene 1, take 2.
Perfect. But these are the outtakes, the shenanigans.
Old ambulances. Stop dying today.
Scene 5, take 5.
Action.
Yeah, don't get hit.
You just make a video?
So that was cool.
You fast forward just a little bit because it gives an intro into the next. Just a little bit. Yeah, there you go.
So aren't you lovely?
I was thinking we can grab some breakfast. Something young, something sweet, something really good to eat.
ghouls. Ghouls,
So
a very
that one-
underutilized monster.
And so that one basically, where the tables are turned, that type of psychological where you think, oh, this helpless girl and her friend and someone's coming in. But what we're really doing is luring our lunch, luring our dinner, I should say. So it was called Watch Me, which was during the dinner hour. Watch Me Again, which is, as you said, the breakfast hour. And then you have Bless You. And then you have Watch Out, which is the lunch hour. So we based it on the food. And so these characters, that's how they survive. I mean, they're breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You get three meals a day, right? Your 3 square meals a day. And so we play this cat and mouse game between each other and between our victims. And so people are unsuspecting. So it was, people were like, wait, what? You ate him? And I'm like, you never know. That's our breakfast. But you know,
yeah, there was some omens in the script writing. You know what I mean? The whole like them talking about the hungry and then get a bite to eat. There was like those little like nuanced omens. I had a feeling of what was coming, but it still came strong with the the presentation with the fast turn and the attack.
One of my favorite lines towards the end where he goes, I'm looking for something young, something sweet. And I'm like, so that'll tell you, oh, okay, so now I gave him the aged meat for dinner. And then now he wants something young and sweet for breakfast. And so that's how we played it. I mean, you play with your food. I mean, basically you play with your food. So
yeah, very cool. I liked it a lot. That was very well done.
Thank you.
And your friend Dennis, he doesn't have any trouble getting a date, does he?
No. Dennis, being the 6'9" tall Estonian that used to model for, I don't know, runway model. No, he's good.
I look at guys like him and I'm like, that's what I'm supposed to look like.
No, he currently just got married actually to and I want to say it correctly, but she is in she's a celebrity chef in Colombia, I believe. And so I'm missing her name and I don't want to butcher it, but they just recently got married. And I'm so proud of him, so excited for him. But yeah, we use Dennis a lot for the good looking factor, of course.
I could tell.
And Dennis was built to kill. So
we got Metal in the chat. He's
Metal. Hail Metal.
What up, Metal?
What up, dude?
But again, like I said, like those are the type of movies that I enjoy. It's like those psychological thrillers and the nuance of, yeah, you're waiting for your friend, you're waiting at the mall or you're waiting outside. Who is watching you? A lot of people are watching you, and you just never know how psychotic that person is or what's going on in their mind. And especially for females, you never know like who really is watching you. And it turns out we're also watching back.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah. That's cool though. That's very cool.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Yeah. And we both of those films with that trilogy, as well as The Dead of Night, has been in some festivals. Like I said, played in some theaters in LA, like some of the smaller theaters. So we're really excited about that. And, we're, even to this day, like I'm still like promoting them and still sending them out to festivals like, hey, what about me? Because you just never know. You just never know. So
have you approached, have you sent any of your stuff to Shudder?
Actually, yes.
Short films these days.
Actually, yes. But once you get through the long jargon of contracts and the lawyers speak on their website, and I used to work with law offices, so I know contracts. Trust me, I know contracts. And it's not that they're bad contracts per se, and they're good. It's always that fear of, hey, I'm submitting my project, even though it's copyrighted, even though it's in the Writers Guild, even though it's all this stuff. I am just fearful, like most people, that oh, my idea can look like this with your production company, with your more professional look, and it's similar to my idea. You know what I mean? And the only way they go around it, Stranger Things, only thing they go around it is if like a different character, or they add a little bit here, they add a little bit there, but the same idea is the same. And I've had a couple of friends who were part of their horror short, and they were playing like on their YouTube channel. I mean, they got like millions and millions of views, and it was great. And oh my God, I mean, I had sort of the end, like, oh my God, this is my friend, and get, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that I'm a little, I don't know. I'm just a little protective,
little leery of just the fact that it's so easy to have your shit ganked these days. And you can copyright a work, you can copyright a title, you can't copyright an idea.
Unless it's my idea, yes.
There you go.
But I mean, but it's true. I mean,
I hear you.
Or you can sample something. I mean, you can do it to a point where you're doing a whole Christopher Columbus. It's like, I didn't, there was a meme where it says, I didn't, what was the meme? It's, I didn't destroy you, I discovered you. Or something like that, something to that effect.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, they can take any part of my little element, and I literally can be all paranoid and look at their stuff and be like, that's exactly what I did. So what is he asking me? Oh dear God.
On 24. Oh, whoa. Well, the gauntlet has been thrown down. Look, you're a guest. You don't have to look at this fool.
No, because mystery. Which, thank you very much for the card. I mean, you found my IMDb, and you found like the serious headshot, like that style. Yes, I was on 24. Yes.
Rock and roll.
Kiefer was awesome. There's a lot of people I work with in LA that were Gary Sinise, top notch. Love Gary Sinise. Martin Sheen, great. Nice. Chris Rock, awesome. That crew. I mean, just a lot of people that I worked with, and they were just phenomenal. Then there's that other side where you're like,
I was going to ask.
I know you were.
The dirt. Yeah.
We don't need to
go into that.
We don't need to have any gossip. It's okay.
It's all good.
We're not totally cool. Unless you have a really great story that's just absolutely funny and you want to share that. But we're not trying to dig gossip. That's not the style.
Of course not. Of course not. One funny thing.
Please.
I will share a story. I will share a story. I was working on let's say a huge film, and the cast of characters are A+ listers, and 4 of those main characters you are great. One's a singer. Another has been doing film since God knows when in the 80s with their own comedy special. And another one has a very famous dad and is very funny. Let's just put it that way. And during this time, the 80s star was going through it, family, and tough times. And let's just say when they called that person on set, they were like, we're ready for you on set. That person does their thing. And then when it's literally cut, they were like, and you're like, oh, okay. So and then they say, okay, we need you back on set. And then they're like, and cut. And you're just like, wow, okay. The singer person, let's just say, we had to be there for at least 14 to 26 takes for a simple dance move. And this person gets their money from dancing. So that tells you that, everything is not what it appears to be. And the third major person that has a famous father and all that good stuff was that person where you were supposed to watch out for on set.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that sounds like an explosive drama situation on all ends there.
Yes.
The set
but I got paid, so I was like, I'm all good.
So it's like, damn, there's so many eggshells on this job site. I don't know what the fuck to do with myself.
The one set I always wanted to be a fly on the wall for was for Venom, which was like a movie from like 1981, I think, because the cast was like the ultimate like nightmare cast. It was like Nicole Williamson, like a notorious prick, Oliver Reed, who's like was like a kamikaze drunk, and Klaus Kinski, who was bipolar as hell, and would have these legendary shit fits. And evidently, like, they sort of canceled each other out. Like Oliver Reed actually kept like Kinski threw like a shit fit, and Oliver Reed like took him aside and was like, "Listen, you little shit." And it's sort of, oh my
Sorry,
God.
Art City. I'm not going to name drop. I am not, because I respect them. It's funny, but when you're on set, and I truly mean this, when you're on set, I mean, these people have got so much pressure on them, being like the weight of that movie, especially, and then when there's like stuff going on, you know, outside of the film world, like their real life. And I mean, they just got a lot of pressure. So I will say that, I mean, because I've since have worked with these people again, and it was a different situation. So, I mean, but at the time, let me preface that, at the time you go, you are exactly what people say, and you are exactly what, yeah. But you know, again, I mean, that's all part of it. And there's also been instances where I have had to, on set, tell off the main character, and I didn't get fired. I was put as their best friend after I told them off.
Oh, that's
the
cool.
Director was like, "Oh, by the way, you're not going to be their best friend," and they were like, because they thought that, you know, and it's unfortunate, but they thought that, oh, you're just like some extra. And I'm like, actually, no, I'm actually getting paid like a SAG rate. Sorry, I may not have a line here, or I may be edited here, but no, I'm going to be treated with respect. And I don't care who you are. Like this whole, do you know who I am? Yeah, I do. Do you know who I am? I'm still on this set. I'm still getting paid. And oh, by the way, Netflix me later, because and they just have the audacity to like just have that diva sort of quality. And then you're just like, why? Like, I'm here to do you a service, make you look good by being the little peon that's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm here to, thank you, Ava. You know, I'm here to be your little grunt person. But, and then when I told that person off, I would say the makeup artist and the hair lady was like, girl, do you know who you were talking to? I said, yes, I do. And my mama said, you know, I'm like, no. And so after that, I was like, no, I'm sorry. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be disrespected on set when I'm coming on set and am disciplined enough where I know what to say and I know how to say it. I don't have to say it in like the mama girl attitude, but I can tell you, hey, you know what? I appreciate it. I do understand who you are. And I know this show has your name on it, but you know what? Yeah, you called me. Let's put it that way.
Nobody has an excuse. I don't care who the hell you are to treat other people like crap. I know that a lot of actors that you see on TV these days are on American television productions are from England, and that's be the case because in England, acting like a diva or a douchebag, it's considered unprofessional.
It is. I mean, it's unprofessional regardless. Whatever country you're in, it's
regardless. Yeah. But over there, it's like really taboo because like a lot of those people also come from the theater world, and there everybody is considered equal. That's to say, the person that's doing the lighting, the grip, everybody like you're not above anybody. Mm-hmm. It's like the old Mickey Rooney movie thing where it's like, let's put on a show. You know, and all for one and one for all. Yeah. And so a lot of English actors get a lot of work in American TV shows and movies just because supposedly they're just easier to work with. They're less likely to diva out.
They really are.
Yeah. I mean, people are people.
They really are.
People have flaws like on the regular. So, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Just with any industry, you're going to run into the same kind of stuff. In performance arts, people tend to, because in performance arts, you have to learn how to exaggerate, whether it be acting or singing or whatever it is you're doing, you have to learn to exaggerate. Mm-hmm. So people who are prone to being a little narcissistic become a lot of narcissistic. So it's, you know what I mean? Especially if they get a little taste of fame, they think everything revolves around them, and they forget that there's other people in the world. It's almost like all their world is just their world, and everybody else's world is there to serve them. It's really kind of weird.
And like I said before, like a lot of them, they've earned that right, because I mean, I'm pretty sure they've been through hell and high water to make it and to break that ceiling or to even be asked. I mean, the audition room is real. I mean, you've got a group of girls that look like cookie cutters, and you've got to stand out. So when you actually get that role and you actually get that part, I mean, the pressure is on, and especially when you're the main and or the best friend or whatever, and you're not getting paid enough, but you're on set for 15, 16 hours. And then, then you can't really eat too much. You can't really do this too much. You got to do the scene and you got to do the turnaround. There's a lot of pressure. So I can see those diva qualities. But
it's still not acceptable.
If they were not as consistent, like if you do it all the time, then that's a problem. Mm-hmm. But if you've earned your right to be, what's her name? Susan Lucci. You've earned that right, girl. You've earned your right to be a Susan Lucci. You just want that Emmy,
Yeah, but I gotta just disagree in the sense that you never earn the right to treat other people like garbage. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, you do earn the right to be given slack because you've paid your dues. So, if you're somebody who treats people like crap all the time, you ain't got the right for that. But if you have a bad day or a bad week or even a bad month, you know what I mean? And you're somebody who's really
for that shit too.
Yeah, but it all goes with the follow through. Exactly. It's how you follow through a bad day.
Well, I'm just saying. My point is that those people who've paid their dues have probably been on the butt fucking end of that fucking shit from a lot of other people. So when they're having a bad day, you know what I mean? So it's, you know what I mean? Well, it's you just gotta, you know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is, and that's all it is. You know what I mean?
Look, everybody has a bad day. Like I know somebody that, I know a couple of people and peeps I have in New York City who work lighting and, work on film crews. And, we'll tell you stories about people that were douchebags to them, but also how that person that was a douchebag to them that day, one day, the next day brought them some flowers and apologized and said, "I'm sorry." So
and that happens, and it happens. I also want to say Sean Bean, worked with him, great guy.
Nice.
I was in a TV series with him. It was short-lived. It didn't get picked up, but he was so nice to everyone. And I mean, everyone from the crew all the way down. And again, I can put Sean Bean in one of my movies because I'm like, oh, Sean Bean didn't die this time.
I love that dude.
I was so excited.
I love that dude. That's nice to hear.
He's on my really good list, and a lot of females as well. But yeah, Sean Beam and the ones that I mentioned before. I mean, they were tops, just tops. I mean, and I do mean down to the crew, down to like just even someone just like sort of walking by. I mean, they.
That's what I'm talking about.
Absolute. Lawrence Fishburne is one, and Angela Bassett is one. So yeah.
Oh wow, that's great. That's good to hear. She's
what I've spent some time in Hollywood, and I live in California, and I've traveled there, and I've worked with a lot of different actors over the years. And what I have found is the people who've put the most work in to get where they are tend to be the most humble on the back end. You know what I mean? It's if they went to school for a bunch of years and they had an education, and then they really climbed their way up the ladder. You know what I mean? They tend to be they tend to not get past the humble.
Be more grounded.
Yep. They are grounded. Because I went to school for acting, and I've got my degrees and things, and I went to New York and was on Broadway. So and again, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. So, and I felt that way, and I came out and I did, and I was just very blessed. But it's a humbling experience when people actually in this industry get to know you and get to know your background, and they see that, wow, this girl, not only is she familiar and friendly and she knows what she's doing, but she's just an all around good girl. She's not like, oh, I got my first $100 check and I'm gonna spend it at Don Cucos or some whatever. I don't know, but they say, oh, okay, she's cool, she's going, you can do whatever you want with your money, but if you invest in yourself, like, oh, she's now using that money to do more wardrobe so she can get to the next audition, they see that, and they see how intelligent you are, because they know that not only is your ambition, you're driven, but you're driven in the right way. You're not just driven to just have the money. Because let me just tell you, and let me just preface this out there, people, and I hope you're listening. Just because you audition, and just because you get a call back, and just because you book something, you ain't getting that money like tomorrow. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is why when the Super Bowl comes in and actors are like vying to do a Super Bowl commercial, because that money, they have to wait. And I do mean wait for that money, but you're set up you are set. So your bills may not be paid for 3 months, but when you get that money, you good.
I've heard TV commercials are great when it comes to residuals, especially if you have dialogue, evidently.
Actually, to my understanding in the industry, for the time on screen, the time on set, the investment of time, I think commercials are one of the higher paying. Yeah. I mean, obviously if you're doing longer scale movies, they pay more than a commercial. But if like that movie was broken down into 30-second increments, you know what I mean? You'd be making a lot more on a commercial than you are on a film. Yeah.
The commercials that do well are always food, medical, auto,
automotive,
feminine products. Let me just tell you, those are the main four. Everyone wants to get a McDonald's. Everyone wants to do a BMW. Everyone wants to do something about, the Cialis is going to help you. Everyone, and everyone wants to do something with something related to the female. Why? Because females are the product buyers. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like a lot of the stuff for out there. And I did a Kellogg's commercial, and I did not have dialogue, but I did a gesture like this, and I was fully in it. And let me just say, just by gesturing like this, I was set. And if I had a dialogue, I would have been like, like this.
Like just one word.
Just put it this way.
No. Right.
Yeah. Well, they call it under 5. Like you either have something that's under 5 lines or something like that nature. Okay. But if you even just do a gesture and it's prominent and you're featured in that gesture, you are set. But then it's depending on your regional, like if it's a national commercial, it's a regional, because not everybody has a Ralph's, or not everybody has a Publix or, whatever. It's all that region. But if it makes it into national, especially during prime time.
Oh God.
Oh, baby. comes up sugar mama right here. I mean, you are set.
Okay, guys, I need to dip out. So talk to you guys next time because I have to get ready for another show at 10.
You got it, Simon. We love you, brother.
Hey, take it easy, Sim.
Everybody back Blood Hunt.
Great.
Yes.
You know, was great getting to know you better, Carshenah. Later.
Most definitely. Take care.
Same
Simon.
time, same time, same horror time next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for showing the movies and stuff. I mean, I've got some others as well, but like I'm just very proud to really showcase the things that I love because I've been watching horror since I was a wee little girl, watching Dark Shadows, watching you know all the Nightmare Before, you know, on Elm Streets, and like every chance, you know, Hammer Studios. I mean, like watching like all those blaxploitation, like old horror films. Like, I mean, horror films from around the globe. If it's horror, I'm your girl. Like, I am.
Oh, we gotta have you on for horror trivia.
Yeah, we're definitely
when you said Skinwalkers, I was like, I know that movie. Oh my god, I love that movie. I mean, I'm all about the cheese too.
Oh yeah. I always say, like, some people have a sweet tooth. I have a shit tooth. Not that Skinwalkers is like, you know, Hell of the Living Dead or something like that, you know. But I love me some trash, you know. I'm very Oscar the Grouch that way.
Thank you, Repo Man.
For it. Oh,
thank you, Repo Man.
Oh, right. So
Repo the art film
with the shit tooth on everybody's mind. Let's try and transition to something that has a different flavor to it. What is the next thing? Obviously, you're working on the Skits comic. You're editing that right now, you know, so that's coming out soon. As soon as you announce that when it's actually going to launch, some of us can actually back it.
Very soon.
And promote the hell out of it.
What aside from that, what is next up?
Next up, finishing up 3 movies that I'm editing right now. That were shot, you know, before the whole fall of grace for the film industry type deal. One is called Bloody Roller. One is called Happy Trails. And then another one that I'm still teetering on the name, but we have it as White Man's Burden. And so that's going to be, there's 3 horror films that I'm working on, 3 shorts. And like I said, once we get back into the swing of things, the feature that I'm contemplating and doing, because I want to do it and do it in the right way. And there's, of course, like I said, casting talks of some people, and it's always that, can we get this person? Okay, well, we can't. All right, move on. Can we get this person? Okay, great. How much can we pay them? You know, that type deal. And then what I put out, if I can promote one more thing, if I put out in the community, I put out that although we do horror, we do videos and stuff like that. If anyone wanted to get their promotional video cut or edit or do some of the basic editing, we are open to do that, like for some commissions at a low price for anyone. They can just DM us at Verse Films and see where they do. Because I know a lot of people, they do their videos for their campaigns, and some of them are fantastic. Six Gun Gorilla, love it. And some of them are, you can tell who need a little bit more push in the right direction as far as like editing. Some need just a little minor twinge, and so we offer that. Not to say that we're like the super best, but whenever we're on shows and people say, okay, give us your elevator pitch, that's how long your video should be to like grab someone's attention and then, you know, show it out. If I've got to sit there for 4 minutes, or I've got to sit there for the pitch for 4 minutes, then you've lost me already. Unless it's like compelling, like my life depends on those 4 minutes, I will listen. You know what I mean? But we're offering to do like some editing for people, even throwing, you know, some special effects, some visuals and stuff like that, just to make sure that their campaign, even if they're like first time campaign people, just make sure they have a nice, great campaign video that's out there. And if it's horror, I'm all about it. If it's regular, I'm still all about it. But we're just offering that for people in the community that say, hey, I don't know what to do. Do I do a voiceover? Do I just let the action take over? What do I do? So we try to help them that as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, you lost me.
And let's see, Arch City Comics, he says, at Skits Comic, I want to know how the hell you landed this fantastic woman.
In a goth club. There you go.
No, which one? Which one?
LA.
Oh, okay.
Out there in LA.
Okay, I was in the New York scene.
All right. Well, so
I was like the bank, Limelight.
I have been there. I live in Queens. I live there. Yes.
Brian and I are both, like Brian's a scriptwriter. I'm a scriptwriter. I'm a filmmaker. I haven't done anything that I can like really brag on other than just like stupid comedy shorts. But we're going to want to talk to you backstage, probably stuff that you don't want to say public. You know what I mean? And then so we are up to an hour and 40 minutes. So anything else you want to pitch before we call it a show?
I just want to pitch Skits Comic. So that's my love right now, with of course Michael Sigenthaler, illustrator and creator. We're again, yes, I know people are like, so like, come on, Skits. It's gonna be soon, guys. I mean, really soon. We're just waiting on the two major artists that we will be announcing later. We're just waiting on them to send us their covers. And we are expecting to get those really, really soon. So when we launch, it becomes this whole like explosion of Skits has launched. So we were excited about that.
Well,
so,
you know what happens when you build up, repressed guys too long, you know what I mean? You get one quick explosion and then you're done.
Right. But Skits is launching soon, so get on that mailing list. Come get some. I am going to be doing a review of some things coming up. I might come get some live and also come get some. But thank you so much for showing my videos, because again, like I said, usually I don't have these links to drop. Thank God for Vimeo. So yeah, watch those again, because usually it's a DVD, you send to the theater and you're done, or the festival, or you can't, because a lot of festivals say you cannot premiere your video or your movie until we actually see it and goes through the circuit, which is stupid and silly.
Right.
But be on the lookout for Verse Films, and we will be dropping some trailers, so some horror trailers.
Oh yeah, boy.
Pretty soon as well.
Yeah,
so.
boy.
Great.
Well, the thing is everything is streaming now. That is like all my younger friends, all my millennial friends. They're looking at like DVDs and CDs, and they're just like, "What is this?" Like, boy, these take up a lot of room, don't they? So that's the future. So any stuff that you can upload, any of your old stuff that you can upload, I mean, at your discretion, of course. But what we saw was very, very cool, very, very cool. And thank you for sharing it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And obviously we're gonna want to have you back. Anytime you got something more to promote that's horror related, we're gonna have you obviously for horror trivia nights. You are now part of the Horror Talk family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So feel free to so feel free to be welcome. You kick your shoes off, put your feet up on the couch, whatever you want to do. So,
perfect. And I wore my, I don't know if you see it, but I wore my horror shirt for today. If you see that as well.
Oh, that is badass.
I wore my my May 4th shirt. I didn't go horror themed tonight. I went May 4th.
Of course.
Some of us still love the original.
I want creature from the Black Lagoon, as I used to call him when I was about.
Yeah,
like
he's
5
got
years
like I haven't seen him hardly any T-shirt other than a monster T-shirt. Just so we know, it's not like a special thing when Brian wears a monster T-shirt. It's like all he's got.
I'll out some of my old goth garb one of these days. If we do a Hammer Night, for instance, you're gonna see some old like pirate shirts and. Yeah,
I'm all about it.
There are some ways I've found that we can possibly do things like a Hammer Night, just not on YouTube. Yeah. Whereas like Facebook will allow us to do a complete watch and stuff like that of certain movies and stuff.
Watch party.
Yeah, we're gonna start doing some Facebook watch parties now. Horror Talk exists both on Facebook and YouTube when we do our live broadcasts. But we are building that Facebook audience, and then make sure that anybody who isn't following CG Horror Talk on Facebook, get there and give us a like, follow the thing, hit notifications for the videos on this. If you're in the chat and you don't subscribe to this channel, subscribe to this channel, hit the notifications so you don't miss the thing. It's because this is a platform that we have been polishing and it's starting to grow. We're going to have a lot more people that make horror films on. I have a long list of people that I've been waiting to talk to and getting on here. And so there's a lot in the future. It's just going to be slow going because we're perfecting the platform as we go along. So everybody, welcome. And then Carshenah is now CG. She's obviously CG family. She's been CG family, but she's definitely Horror Talk family now. So you get used to her face. You're going to see it a lot.
Amen.
All right. And
thank you guys so much.
And hail everybody in the chats. Thank you so much for coming in and checking us out, and our wonderful guest.
Yes,
and
thank you.
Yeah, we got Wiggle in here just at the last minute.
Wiggle. Thanks, kids.
All right. We're going to end this show with that. Everybody, thank you for coming. And we will see you next Monday on Horror Talk.
Peace, love, and soul. CG4.